You got to stay committed. It's like,
Yeah.
I can show you something, but if he showed you the in between, would you really continue to say yes? If
Mm.
he had showed me that I would start in one apartment with two beds and then go through what felt like the world's most traumatic divorce during that time. If he had showed me that during that divorce, my daughters that I was just trying to get through high school would be going left and going crazy. If he had showed me that I would have a life altering surgery to
Mm.
change the very way that I speak and the very tone of my voice, would I still have said yes?
Hey, y'all, and welcome to Girl, Get Your Groove Back, the show where we get real about life, health, and everything in between. I'm your host, Coach Jamila, total wellness coach, mom of five, and your no fluff guide to real energy, hormone harmony, emotional balance, and confident living. Today's guest is another powerhouse. She's a leader, a visionary, and a voice for women who often feel voiceless. Thana Hickman is the founder and CEO of Viola's House, a nonprofit that's transforming the lives of teen mothers and families through housing, mentoring, and resources. Her team has distributed over 6 million diapers, provided safe shelter, and created hope where there once was none. But Fauna's story isn't just about building an organization, it's about resilience. It's about healing. It's about a woman who lives with a rare condition called tracheostenosis, a condition that literally changed her voice. And she still chose to use that voice to lead boldly and unapologetically. We're going to talk about health, leadership, faith, and the moments that almost broke her, but made her who she is today. So grab your coffee or your tea, settle in, and let's dive into this powerful conversation with Thana Hickman. Let's get into it. Hey, y'all, and welcome to Girl, Get Your Groove Back. I am your host, Coach Jamila, and I'm super excited to have the amazing, beautiful Thana Hickman on today. She is going to take us through a journey. We're going to dive right in. I really want to just learn a little bit about Thana. Before Viola's House and all that, tell me a little bit about you
Okay.
and how you even thought to do Viola's House. I'd love to hear that.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Jamila. I'm very happy to be
Yes.
here. So, I am born and raised on the south side of Chicago. I was a PK kid. By the age of 8, I was gifted a harp for my 8th birthday. And so by 12, I was a professional harpist. And by 17, I was a teen mom.
Mm.
So I absolutely went down a path that I couldn't see it then, but I know that God had a purpose for it. And so because I became a teen mom out of guilt, I became a teen bride and I did not marry the father of my daughter. I married another guy in church and felt like that was the right thing to do to give my daughter a father. So by the age of 23, after getting married at 19, I had two more daughters. So I was 22 years old with three girls, a husband, which was like a fourth kid, and thrown into this life of struggle that I never experienced as a young girl. And it's important to note if I was gifted a harp at 8, that I lived a pretty good life,
Mm.
but thrown into a life that I knew not of by getting married at 19. I had to learn quickly survival while taking care of three girls. So as I finished my degree, I was determined to finish my bachelor's in business. While raising my daughters, I gained a career in insurance where I did insurance claims. A lot of people have heard of adjusters. Well, I got into the catastrophe side. I grew that career and became a catastrophe manager. So I was managing a lot of adjusters in corporate. I had finished my degree in business, still in the struggle, right? I
Mm.
had a good career. I'm not going to say I didn't marry well, but I didn't marry with intent because who does at 19 years old? You don't know who you're gonna be, right?
Mhm.
So I was still in the struggle, even though I had a very, very good career because I didn't marry someone who had grown up like me. And there was just a lot he didn't understand financially. And so I wanted to give back to other teen girls. I had an amazing village with growing up in the church. My parents surrounded me with the village. And so I had this amazing village when I had my daughter, to where I was able to work. I was able to go to school because this village surrounded me. And I looked at my career. I looked at the fact that although I was a teen mom and had 3 kids by 22, I still finished my degree. I bought my first house at 24. And so
Mm.
I said, it's because of that village. And I want to give that same village to other teen moms. And I had relocated from Chicago to Dallas and, put together this whole program to mentor teen moms. And I was thinking, if I go once or twice a week into the school districts and mentor teen moms, that is my service work. I grew up in service. My father was huge in the community. And so I knew I needed to continue to live a life of service. And I put together this curriculum to serve teen moms and learned very, very quickly that moms became housing insecure in the DFW area when they were faced with an unplanned pregnancy. And that was like a shocker to me, right? I was never homeless because of my village. And so I said, well, self, if you're going to really be a village, then you have to give them what they need. Go ahead and open a maternity home. And I actually had a dream one night and God showed me the vision.
Mm.
But he didn't show me the path. He didn't show me the path to get there. He didn't show me the personal journey. I saw this beautiful home. And, I just felt like I could do anything. I had no idea what I was embarking on. And so I started this journey to open a maternity home. I told everybody who would listen, I'm going to house homeless, pregnant teen moms. And everybody was looking at me crazy. And they
Mm.
said, where did you see that at? No, I've never seen it. Well, who do you know who does it? I've never met anyone who does it, but I'm going to. And so I started doing the research. And at the time, Oak Cliff Bible Church
Yeah.
had a pregnancy center. And it was a home, and it was the only one that I could find in Dallas. And by the time I was ready to go tour it, it was no longer operating. So I
Wow.
found one that was open and thriving in Houston. And so I got on the road with one of my best friends and another mentor. And I kept telling them, we on the road to destiny. We gonna go see this home and I'm gonna come back and open me up one. And it just didn't work like that, Jamila. If you have ever embarked on any type of business or service work, um, it just doesn't work like that, even though you're trying to do a good thing. I went and toured that home in 2009, and I didn't open my first bed until 2015. I went on quite a journey. And so that is how I got started. And that is what leads me here today to where we are.
Wow. But it goes to show the power of speaking life over your vision, even if
Yeah.
nobody believes it,
Yeah.
consistently working toward the vision. Even
Yeah.
if it seems like it's not happening the way you think it should or it will.
You got to stay committed. It's like
Yeah.
God can show you something, but if He showed you the in between, would you really continue to say yes? If
Mm.
He had showed me that I would start in one apartment with 2 beds and then go through what felt like the world's most traumatic divorce during that time. If he had showed me that during that divorce, my daughters that I was just trying to get through high school would be going left and going crazy. If he had showed me that I would have a life altering surgery to
Mm.
change the very way that I speak and the very tone of my voice, would I still have said yes?
Mm.
I don't know that I can answer that, but I know that every season that I walk through, because I just had hope and faith that I would get to the other side of that season, I continued to say yes in every season. No
Mm.
matter how dim it looked, I knew what God showed me, and I knew that I was working towards that. And God just showed me that. But today in 2025, it's so much bigger than that vision of the house that He showed me.
I am amazed by that testimony, by that journey, because not only are you saying I said yes every season, but I really like the part where you said, would I have said yes if I had known the in between? And a
Mm.
lot of us, it's scary, when you see these things. So just even going back to when you made the decision to get married, I can attest. I don't know if I shared with you, but I was married young and had
Yeah.
kids young also. And it was a lot of it was connected to the church and things like
We
that.
look like our kids' sisters, don't we?
Mhm.
Yeah, we don't
You
look like they
know, you know what I'm saying?
grown kids and grandkids for me. Yeah, yeah.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, I have to talk to you offline about that one. But in that stage, I know for me, I felt like a single mom, although I was married.
Oh, yeah.
Can you attest? Can you relate to that?
Oh, I can relate. Let me tell you something, and it's unique because when you try to explain to people that you were married, but you were in the struggle, they're like, well, you can't relate because at least you were married. I'm a single mom. Sometimes it's worse when you're married and in the struggle because you're like, I could do bad by myself, but I have to be married, still be a wife, and be a mother and make sure these kids have a roof over their head. Make sure the kids are at the schools they're supposed to be at. Make sure that everything is flowing while
Yeah.
making sure money is coming into this household. Religion taught us that no matter what, you can stop being a wife, whether he was being a husband or not.
Mm,
And so it is traumatic. It is a vicious cycle. And I don't know how long you stayed in it due to condemnation and religion, but I was married for 18 years.
mm,
So imagine getting married at 19, you spend the first 20 years of your adult life in a bubble and just in survival.
mm.
People look at me now and think I woke up like this. Nah,
They don't know the
it
story.
has been a journey.
Yeah,
And I spent 20 years in survival mode the first 20 years of my adult life. And I'm going to tell you something else, Jamila. I spent the first 3 years after my divorce afraid to say it because, for all intent purposes, you
yeah.
want to make sure you don't say anything that's going to ruffle feathers. But saying it is not the intent to hurt anyone, it is to be real and give the realness of a journey so that you help the next person coming behind you and tell them you don't have to stay longer than you need to be there. Nobody said you must.
Nobody said.
Yeah, nobody said you must. And so it's okay to really share our truth
That's it.
because it's our truth. And we spend so many years trying to make sure we don't say nothing that the kids not going to like, or, oh my gosh, if somebody from the family hears it, oh gosh. I'm not talking bad. I'm talking about my journey.
That's it.
And my journey was survival for 18 years
Mm,
in that marriage. And here I am on the other side, almost 10 years post divorce.
on the other side. So I was
Yeah.
19 years. I didn't realize that we have very parallel backgrounds. I'm sure people want to hear too. Since you were in survival mode for so long, how did you get out?
I actually have the answer to this.
Okay.
As soon as I was no longer under that covering, I switched right back to my roots. I didn't grow up in survival. My mind went exactly back to my foundation and how I grew up. What I saw, my father was a businessman. He was a pastor. He owned half the South Side in real estate and apartments. He gave affordable housing when we didn't even know what that was to the church members. He was the chairman of the Economic Development Board for Seaway National Bank, which at the time was the largest Black owned bank in the country. I grew up in a 6,000 square foot house. I did not know what a light bill was growing up. I didn't know what it felt like not to be able to go to a restaurant and not order that crab if I didn't want it. And I put myself in survival with choices I made at 19 years old. I didn't put myself in survival when I made the choice at 17 to give birth because that was a choice too. And you'll catch that. I had options. All of us have options.
Hmm.
But I made the choice to give birth to that baby at 17. I didn't put myself in survival then. I put myself in survival when I went under a man's covering who could not harbor who I was because I didn't know who I was yet.
Mm.
The second, and when I want you to hear me, the
Huh.
second we moved from under the same roof, it was traumatic moving from under the same roof because I had to live with a board member that was a friend for 10 days with my daughters. But the second I was no longer under the roof and in survival mode, my life shifted immediately. My mindset shifted back to the foundation that was put in me as a young girl. My mind shifted back to the possibilities of the service work that I saw as a young girl. My father was a builder. All of those big churches in Chicago, he built them.
Mm.
Mine shifted back to the life of a builder and behind the scenes, what really went into it. Because he worked his tail off, right? There was no silver spoon in his mouth. His parents did very well, but he didn't take anything from them. He was a builder for all intent purposes. He built churches, he built communities. My mind shifted back to what do you know and what did you see? And one of the first things that I knew was his faith. Because every morning at 7:15, I had to be downstairs for devotion. What my father put inside of me, he didn't teach me how to build a church like him. He didn't even teach me how to buy real estate the way that he did. What he put inside of me is who I was in Christ. He continued to tell me, you can do and be whatever you want as long as Christ is at the forefront. He
Mm.
didn't say religion.
Yeah.
He didn't say any of that. He made sure that he instilled in me who I was in Christ. And I immediately went back to those roots. And I'm like, girl, this is not your life. This is not the life that God intended for you. So if you got to work around the clock and you got to work 2 insurance contracts while finishing construction on your main facility for this maternity home, and sis, this is how you build. Let's get it. And that's what I did.
I got goosebumps because that's the power of yoking yourself with the right
Yeah.
person. And the thing that you said is immediately as soon as you disconnected from that, your mindset shifted back to your foundation. All of y'all get that because there is so much power in who you yoke yourself up with.
Let me tell you, I stay, and this is real conversation. We
Yeah.
gonna be real,
Yeah.
because I don't like people to look at me now and think that I just woke up like this. I could never pay a bill on time. Never. I'm in my 9th year being divorced. I have never been late on a bill. Never. I have 57 people on payroll right now that work for Viola's house, and I've never missed a payroll. Yesterday, I was inputting numbers in payroll and I was squeamish, right? Because we got a lot going on. We're doing a lot of hiring.
Yeah.
And I told my COO, I said, let me share something with you. I've never missed a payroll
Mm,
and I don't start now.
that's right.
I've never missed a bill and I don't start now. But I can only say that that is since my divorce,
Mm, baby.
because that's the power in being yoked with someone who understands the importance of integrity and character when it comes to financial matters. And God will only give you what you can handle.
That's right.
God will only give you what you and your partner can handle. Because if you can handle it and that person is going to screw it up, you're not going to get it. He's not going to put it in your hands, especially when there are lives at stake. And
Right.
with the work that I do every day, there are lives at stake here. You think God was going to give it to me and I was married to someone who couldn't handle it? It wasn't going to happen. And that's the reality.
See,
And we have to be real about things like
you
that.
have
It's not to hurt feelings or anything like that. But everybody, I get asked all the time, why such a shift in your life after your divorce? I'm telling you why.
right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Girl, that just again gave me chills because a lot of us, including me, get caught up in relationships that are not what God has for us truly. But then you feel stuck in a sense because you're married and the church said God hates divorce.
Yeah.
That rang in my mind for several years.
But God hates you also not bearing the fruit that you're supposed to bear because you want to blame it on your spouse.
That's it.
And there's no excuses when this life is over. And my favorite parable is the parable of the king that gave the talents of three servants. And here's why it's my favorite, Jamila. Because he gave something to three people, and those three people had a decision of what to do with it. And in that parable, Jesus never tells us the time frame of when they came back to the king to present what they had done with the talents that the king gave them. We don't know if they were married in between. We don't know if they had kids in between. We don't know any of that, right? We know that one of them took it and made every excuse to bury that sucker and
Mm,
do nothing with it and say, well, I didn't lose it. I
right?
still got it. So I did something. But the king said, depart from me. I never knew you because I put something inside of you and it don't matter what your journey was. It was your job to be fruitful and multiply.
Ooh,
But
yes.
the one that doubled it, we don't know what he went through to double it. See, we don't get all of that because remember, God don't show us the journey.
Mm, yeah.
But the king gave him the entire kingdom because he took what was given to him and he was fruitful and he multiplied and God and the king knew he could trust him with more. And so we can't sit around and make excuses of, oh God, this husband you gave me, because did God really give you that husband? Or these kids you gave me, or these people that are around me. None of that is going to matter when it's all said and done. Our job was to take everything that God put inside of us, like what you're doing with this podcast. You said, God put something on the inside of me, and I'm gonna work it at every angle.
Lord.
I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do with what God put inside of me.
Mm,
That is when God gives you more.
mm,
We all need to look at those three servants in that parable and try to envision what their journey might have been. But the one that just took it and buried it, I wouldn't even say he was lazy. He might have thought he was playing it safe
yeah.
and saying, okay, I don't want to lose it. We don't know how many times the one with the three lost those three and had to get that back plus some more. We don't know.
Oh.
But the key was he had to stand back before the king at some point and give account for everything that he was given.
Mm.
And that's our life's journey.
See.
So we can't even keep using the excuse of what the church did and what the church said. We
What does
can't.
God say at the end of the day?
Who did he say you are? And what's on the inside of you? And what are you doing with it?
What are you doing with it? Come
Don't you
on.
do?
What are you doing with it? Because a lot of us we have the gifts, but we are scared of the process, the journey. We are holding out because we don't have the finances or whatever it may be.
Well,
But you just got to keep moving and trust that He will show you the way along the way on the journey.
because God gave you something.
Yeah.
It may not have been a bag of money, but he's put something on the inside of you. I didn't have money starting Viola's house. Let me tell you this.
Mm, tell me.
Pastor Chris Simmons gave me one apartment. That's it. I opened two beds in that one apartment. I did a soft press release. In that first week, I got 10 applicants, and I knew that I was given an answer to a problem here on earth with those 10 applicants. I didn't even know how to pick the two until my mind said double these rooms up after a couple months, put
Mhm.
two girls to each room. And that's how you multiply. I still didn't have any funding. I was working in corporate. The apartment was given to me. It was all bills paid, but I had to figure out how to feed them girls and get programming. So then I said, okay, it's just me. I need to multiply. Let me seek volunteers. And I got volunteers to multiply the service work. I've already multiplied the beds. Now I'm multiplying the service work. Still no money.
Mm,
I want to be clear with that.
yeah.
I, one Wednesday, struggled to pay this chef $50 that she needed to get the food for her to do programming. I didn't have any funding, and here I was housing girls. But guess what? The applications never stopped coming. Pastor Chris ended up giving me two more apartments.
Mm,
Did you ever hear me say he gave me money? He did not. I had to take what he was giving me and work it until I could get to the contracts. It was me and volunteers for years. And at one point, I was driving these girls around in my black Suburban. That wonderful husband of mine let that sucker get repoed. That was the only bill he had to be responsible for. So the vehicle that I was driving the girls around in, he let it get repo. See, this is the part of the story that I love to share
Yeah.
because I want to encourage entrepreneurs that you're still not supposed to quit. That's not your sign to quit. And then after he let the truck get repo, he decided to divorce me. You see how cute I am? Who would divorce me?
Hey, what?
Like,
Girl,
wow, look
he
at me.
what?
He decided to divorce me. Thank you.
Yeah,
Because my little religious self would have never went down there and filed. So thank you. Best gift you gave me,
that's it.
right?
That's
And
it.
after that, the grants started coming. They would trickle in. And then I got resourceful. I said, I'm a nonprofit. I qualify to get staff through AARP. AARP don't pay them much. They're over the age of 55. But I'm a nonprofit with a facility because by this time, we had trickled away at the house that was donated to me, right? We trickled away to the point that I was able to do a grand opening on a completed house that could hold 12 residents. Listen, don't ask me how. Look at your face. It took me 2 years. 25,000 towards some floors. All right. Let me get some more. Okay. 50,000 towards this. That was Pastor Chris helping me too, right? Because it takes one person to believe in you. It doesn't take everybody to buy into your vision. It takes one person to give you a yes and believe in you.
That's it.
And he would give me a little, and I would multiply it. And he saw that. But he still wasn't giving me money. And so when this house got completed, I said, I got a facility. It may be empty, but I can get staff now from AARP. And that's how I started getting staff. And then some of my staff say, I got to work more than 20 hours to help you here, girl. So I start cash apping them from my paycheck, 2 of them. I was sitting in that office working insurance claims, bivocational for years, and using part of my paycheck to pay them an additional stipend. That home was filled and I had no funding. I had a house mom that lived there and her pay was the housing that I gave her.
Yeah.
And I had 2 people from AARP. And I'm going to tell you now, we have multiple homes now. I've got 2 homes here within a 3-block radius. I have another home that I'm doing a capital campaign on to house moms over the age of 30 with multiple kids. We have some transitional apartments. I just moved a mom in with 7 babies last week. We've got a home in Baltimore, Maryland. We are going national. But I also have a social service agency, which is a baby boutique, where mothers take pregnancy and parenting classes and they earn baby bucks to shop in that boutique. Right now, I have over 500 mothers a day that shop and take classes with us every day. We give free diapers until a child is 3. Last year, I gave out over 7 million diapers. So I worked with a company to create and form our own bamboo diaper, paraben-free, chemical-free. So we work with a company now that manufactures a specific diaper just for Viola's house. So we have our own diaper. We have an office down by the border where there's 6 people on staff there. We partner with a beautiful clinic there called New Horizon. We also partner with a clinic here to provide maternal health services right here on site. And I said it before and I'm going to say it now. It started with me and a couple volunteers, and I now have 57 full-time employees.
Oh my goodness.
And we are expanding to other states. So
My goodness.
when you hear the journey and you hear my story, know that in every season, I continue to say yes. And I'm saying yes now in a very tough season where funding is being cut, contracts are being cut.
Yeah.
Nonprofits are under so much scrutiny. And I continue to say yes because God continues to show me.
That's it. And then look how far he's brought you. It blows my mind because you, like you said, you didn't see this in your dream.
No, no, no. I would have been scared. Look, I can't curse on that, but I would have been scared. Hitless. Okay. I'd have been so scared. I'd be like, what? How am I pay all them people?
Yeah.
What is all this real estate, God? How am I going to buy it?
Yes.
2023, I went to closing 2 times in 60 days for a commercial retail strip and 1 for another house that we own in 60 days.
Girl.
In 60 days. Listen, real estate assets, that's what I saw. That was my foundation.
Yes.
I mean,
This
I
is how you
can't
know
always
God's
money.
hand.
Yeah,
Yes. His
yeah,
hand is all over this. His hands are all over this because it's not humanly possible for all this to happen by itself. I don't
yeah.
think.
You
So,
don't even have to question it. It's not me.
mm,
I'm the vessel. I say yes and I hold on in the tough times. I do. And that is because I've seen God do it before. I've seen God do what seems impossible to man. And so I have to trust God's track,
ooh,
not just in my life, but in everybody else's life around me. I have to trust God's track record because the fact that I'm sitting here today and I'm giving this testimony is testament to God's track record for my yes, for my life, and for the call that He's placed on my life. I got receipts. Some folks got receipts for the wrong thing. I got receipts of God's track record
that's
because what I didn't share, and this is part of your question. We all off from your questions. What I didn't share is one of my biggest receipts. I touched on it a little bit. I have a condition called tracheostenosis. And so while I was going through what felt like the world's most traumatic divorce, these doctors did an MRI on me
mhm.
and told me that I needed a tracheal reconstruction immediately. They didn't even know if my trachea was holding up at night while I was sleeping. And so I said doctors, I said, listen, I'm going through a divorce. I got 6 girls living in apartments. I got the baddest teenage daughters. I don't mean bad like the way they look. I mean like their behavior.
Yeah.
I got the baddest teenage daughters right now. I can't do a surgery. We're going to circle back in a year when my life gets better. They told me, you don't have a choice here. You need to do this surgery because your trach is like a little noodle and it could collapse at any time. So most people didn't even know what tracheostenosis was until COVID, when people were getting trach and their tracheas were no good afterwards due to the vent, right? People had
Right.
not even heard of this. But here I was dealing with it for years. Every year since the age of 23, I would go and get put to sleep and they would dilate my trachea, open it up so that I could do what most take for granted every day and just breathe. And every year would last for about a year because your trachea is like a muscle. They push that muscle open and say, all right, you can breathe better. But after so many times, you can't just keep doing that.
Yeah.
So the doctors here in Dallas said, you need a reconstruction. We're going to remove the worst part of your trach and connect the better parts together. Now, it's not a full fix, but you're going to breathe better. And so I go in on Tuesday morning and I'm texting folks, hey, I'm going in for this little surgery. I'm going to call y'all tonight when I get out. Something told me a couple days before, let your mother know. So my mom flew in. So the day before the surgery, the doctor tells me, you are very healthy. Me and you the same age. I was about 38 at the time.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have any issues. He said with the older people, they end up on a ventilator when I do this. You should be good. Well, I guess I was like the older people because I woke up 4 days later. And as I woke up, there was white coats around me and I could hear my doctor's voice. He said, Thana, we're going to remove the vent, but we need you to breathe on your own. And it was in that moment that I realized I wasn't even breathing. If you've ever been awake with a tube going down into your lungs, breathing for you, it is the most unnatural feeling. It doesn't matter how much you try gas for air, that tube is in your airway. You're gasping into a tube and it doesn't breathe at the same natural pace that you do. It's unnatural, it's scary, and it almost feels suffocating. And here I am. They woke me up and everything is still inside of me. And he's telling me, you gotta show us you can breathe so we don't have to read that tree. And there's just tears coming down my eyes. And I'm saying, God, what happened? I didn't even know what day it was. And when they began to remove the tubes, all I could say is just breathe, just breathe. And I'm to show them that I could breathe. And at the same time, I will never forget. I still say yes. I still say yes. I don't know what happened. I don't know what went wrong, but I'm not going to stop. Nothing is going to stop me. I'm not going to stop. I didn't have a voice for 6 months. I will tell you, got readmitted back into that hospital again. I had a lung collapse. And when it was all said and done, for the next 6 months, I was in the hospital every month getting a dilation so that they could train my tracheal muscle to stay out. So it wasn't the end of it when I got released from ICU 10 days later. Every month I was there. And when the doctor told me that was my last one in January, after I had had a surgery in June, I just cried because I was exhausted. But by the time I cried and I was exhausted from that surgery, I was in my new facility. It was filled with mothers. I had staff. My girls were in an alternative school, finishing high school. I had 2 insurance contracts and was working on a binder with the state to get funded for the work that I was doing. People didn't know what I was going through in my personal life with my health. They didn't know
And
because I
that's the
kept growing
thing.
up. Yeah.
It in those seasons of life, especially that, how did you keep yourself motivated? And when the motivation wasn't there, how did you keep pushing yourself to say yes? And
I'm
that's
gonna tell you, I would like to give you this beautiful flowery answer, but the way that I motivated myself is because life was kicking my butt. I needed to get to the other side. While I was breathing better, personally, life was kicking my butt. My daughters, my husband didn't just divorce me, he basically divorced them. So he was off somewhere living with another woman. He had a marriage, everything like that. You know, them men move quick.
yeah.
So life was kicking my butt because I was a real single mother
Yeah.
and I was working 2 insurance contracts, making very, very good money, but giving about 30% of it to Viola's house to keep it afloat. So I had to work 2 contracts.
That's right.
People miss that in business. You don't just wake up and quit everything and say, I'm gonna have faith that my business is gonna make some money by next week because you have to continue to take care of you and your home, which is your first assignment. And the way to do that is sometimes you got to work multiple contracts while building your business. My motivation, honestly, was to get to the other side. And even as I applied for funding, I got told no 3 times. 3 times I got told no. I got told you're not ready. I said, but I'm doing the work. So I'm going to keep applying until I get the contract I need so I can do more work and hire more people. So it's never looks like the end result that we see when we're on this journey.
Yeah.
And you have to tell yourself right now, if the only motivation I got is to get out of this,
Mm.
I don't have no fancy terms. I don't have all of this. Well, the Lord said, I just need to get out of this.
Let's
And
get
so I gotta keep going because you know the way out is to keep moving forward.
that's it.
That's the way out. And
Mm.
so you have to. Oftentimes we think quitting is the way out, but it's not. It keeps us in it longer. You have to move forward to get out and get to the other side. And that's what I did. That was my motivation.
I
Because
love
it was times in there, let me tell you, I'm so bitter at God. What you talking about? Sometimes I didn't want people to even tell me what God was going to do and that God said it was going to be okay.
Yeah.
I was bitter at him at times.
Yeah.
Like,
That's real
really?
talk.
After all I did, I'm housing these girls. They cussing me out, putting bad reviews online. You know, my kids ain't got no father no more. He taking care of a whole nother family.
Mm.
Like, really, God?
Yeah.
I did all of this for this to be it? So I can't tell you that my faith was my driving factor in that season with my health. Because
That's
I was,
real.
yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
It's real. Yeah.
And I feel like, God appreciates that realness. We could sit up here and fake it and punk it all we want in
Yeah.
those seasons, but it's just amazing. I'm just amazed. Thank you so much for sharing that testimony because I didn't know that. And I'm sure people who are watching didn't know that. The thing that really encourages me, and I'm sure the audience too, is the fact that there's power in continuing to keep going. Keep going. Don't quit just because
Yes.
it seems hard or it looks bad.
Yes.
You better keep going if you want to get
You
to the
got to
other
get
side.
up every day and
Yeah.
be intentional and say, it doesn't matter how tough this day ahead seems. I've
Yes.
got to get through and get to the other side. And I have to be intentional with how I do. That's the key. You got to keep going. Yep.
Would you say there's a daily habit that you've incorporated that maybe you can't even live without that really helps you stay centered and grounded?
So many, because at my core, my faith is what grounds me. And so I wake up. There's this one song right now that has gotten me through the last 6 months, and it's a daily song, and it's I trust in God. And so I listen to it every morning. I listen to my audiobooks every day. I am constantly in commune with God. I'm constantly, it doesn't mean that it fixes everything. It keeps me grounded. My faith, and I have to do daily things. I am engaged to be married. And so one of the things I know, right, next year I'm journey. And that was a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast.
I know, girl.
That's a whole nother podcast
We want to hear it. We're going to have to bring you back.
of these dating streets, okay?
Ooh, honey.
But
Yeah.
it was a journey, right? And even
Yeah.
in my yes to a man being on one knee proposing to me, that was a journey. Therapy, therapy, therapy. But now I'm in this season where I'm juicing and, the training, getting up at 5 a.m. and perimenopause is playing a key in that too, because if I don't
Mhm.
build muscle, perimenopause is kicking my tail and I won't sleep that night. So just as you grow in life,
Yeah.
you're going to take on more habits. Y'all heard me talk about my trach. I can't go get cosmetic surgery like these women because I can't get to sleep. Got to do the work naturally. As much as I would love to go get a tummy tuck, I cannot. So it's just making sure that I am my best self every day so that I can show up in this office as my best self. But at the core, it's my faith that drives me and my faith that allows me to do it, even on my toughest days. And trust me, you can build something. How about the pressure to sustain it? Once you 57 employees, they
Yeah.
depending on me every 2 weeks to pay their bills. Can you imagine what that feels like to have to sustain it and the pressure? And the thousands of clients a month that depend on us for diapers, for classes, for services. That's another podcast too. You
Yeah.
build it, but how do you sustain it?
How do you sustain?
Right? Because though that's a whole different business lesson. So there's a lot that I have to do to keep my mental right. So therapy, girlfriends, and good relationships,
Yeah.
and that's so important. Good girlfriends that are rooting for you, not competing,
Right.
that are genuine, that are genuinely happy for you. My girlfriends were so happy when I told them that I was going to get married. They said, just show up for your reception. We got it. Yeah. Because we just need this to happen. So, good girlfriends like that, good people around you, good mentors, all of that, living a life with intention has to be how you live if you're going to sustain anything that you have built of impact.
Living a life with intention.
Yeah.
That's the whole word right there.
Yeah.
Love that. What would you say is one word that describes this season of your life?
Mm, this season of my life, it's complex. It's
Complex.
complex. Yeah.
Complex.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's complex.
Yes.
But
Honey,
I'm smiling.
that's it.
Being engaged with grown kids, 2 grandbabies, a whole organization. I released a book this year that has gotten me so busy with speaking engagements and requests and things like that. It gets a little complex. And I'm a premarital counselor.
You and all the things. Girl, wait a minute. Do you have your book? What's the name of your book for the audience?
Yes, I have that book. So this book is called No Place to Belong. This is the social determinants of teen pregnancy and homelessness. I wrote this book based on my 10 years of housing homeless teen moms and what the true social determinants really are. People think that these girls are just defiant girls. Nobody wants them. Everybody kicked them out. That's not true. We have over 50% of the girls have aged out of foster care. So they have no family to be defiant to, and they begin to couch surf, and it's payment for sleeping on somebody's couch. They have to give up other services, and they find themselves faced with an unplanned pregnancy. We have all types of girls that go online and apply to live here at Viola's house. And so this talks about the true social determinants of what we see with them, from the lack of access to healthcare, lack of education, coming out of poverty, a life of poverty, what that looks like. So this book is very informative. A lot of educators have read it and their minds have been blown. But at the end, it's a call to action, a very clear call to action as to how you can truly step in and serve this demographic. It doesn't take money. It doesn't take for you to be at LCSW. At every single level, the last chapter tells you how you step in and you can help these girls or help organizations like Viola's House.
Goodness. And how do we get our hands on it?
You can go right to my website, thanahickman.com, or you can go right on Amazon and get it. No Place to Belong.
No.
For the first 2 weeks when it was released in April, it was #2 on Amazon in teen health and teen pregnancy. So with no marketing. So I'm pretty proud. Yeah. But you can go to my website, thanahickman.com, and takes you to a link to everything from Viola's house, how to speak to me, how to book me, all of those things right on my website.
Right on the website. Okay. ThanaHickman.com, y'all. I'm going to put it on there. I don't want to end. This is so good. I do want to do a quick group check. So, that's like a rapid fire.
Okay.
You'll have about 15 to 30 seconds to respond.
Okay.
And so, questions I have. What's your favorite decade for music? 70s, 80s, 90s, or 2000s?
90s, girl. 90s.
Of course. I'm right there with you. Okay. Tevin Campbell, that was my boy really back in the 90s.
Yes.
Most unexpected lesson you've learned from the moms at Viola's house?
That we are all one and the same. All one and the same. At some point, we all experience the same emotion, same feeling, the same seasons in our life. We're no different.
No matter what our background looks like at the end of the day. Yeah. Okay. With that. What would you say is your guilty pleasure snack?
My guilty pleasure snack is going to be Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Just vanilla.
Just plain vanilla?
Just plain vanilla.
Okay. Okay. So if you had your own theme song that played every time you walked into a room, what would it be?
This Girl Is on Fire.
Okay.
Yeah, This Girl Is This Girl Is on Fire. Yep.
This Girl's on Fire. I love that. That was one of my songs that I did when I did my speaking boot camp. That was the song that I sang, This Girl's on Fire. So
yeah, I love it.
We here. Thank you so much for being on Girl Get Your Group Back. This is amazing. Thank you for being vulnerable and authentic and sharing your story. And again, y'all, I know that y'all are blessed by this episode. Make sure y'all hit up thanahickman.com, support Viola's house, and until next time.
Okay. Thank you.
Woo, child. What a conversation. Thana Hickman reminded us that no matter what life takes from us, our comfort, our certainty, even our voice, we can still rise, lead, and create a legacy. And I love how she said it best. I continue to say yes in every season, no matter how dim it looks. That's a reminder for all of us to keep moving forward. Keep being consistent, even when the path isn't clear. If you were inspired by today's episode, here's what I want you to do. Share this episode with a friend who needs to hear it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And if you're ready to take your own next step in reclaiming your health, your purpose, and your groove, head over to CoachJamilaAni.com and fill out the contact form. That's where we can connect personally and talk about how to get you back to thriving. Until next time, y'all, Coach Jamila